Emilia Rusin z Lubelskiego Festiwalu Filmowego. Dzisiaj rozmawiamy z Tess Martin, autorką filmu Orbit. Moje pierwsze pytanie do Ciebie będzie dotyczyło techniki, ponieważ ona jest bardzo intrygująca i jest tym, co się rzuca na pierwszy rzut oka, kiedy się ogląda Twój film. On jest w pewien sposób transowy, pulsujący, jest generalnie orbitalny, jak tytuł wskazuje. I chciałam zapytać, jak technicznie powstawał, bo z tego, co zrozumiałam z filmu, rysowałaś ręcznie na okrągłych kawałkach, kartkach papieru i obracałaś je fotografując. Czy tak jak to jest pokazane pod koniec filmu, czy dobrze to zrozumiałam? I skąd pomysł na taką formę?
Yeah, so thank you for selecting Orbit and thank you for having me. Yeah, so the technique is basically an updated form of a zoetrope or a phenakistoscope, one of these old Victorian toys. And if you or the festival viewers are interested in learning more about it, this version of it is called phonotrope with a PH. So that's what you would Google if you wanted to know more about it. But basically it starts out as drawn animation on paper. So actually just normal drawn animation with stacks of paper on a light box that then I scan and put into a circle precisely because they have to be very precisely arranged around the disc. And then that disc is printed out and then put on a spinning record player. And then it's just a matter of making sure that you have coordinated a couple different things to make the animation actually visible in the video camera that you're filming it with. So actually it's video shot in real time of this spinning disc that has drawings on it.
Chciałam zapytać o to, jak Orbit ma się do poprzednich Twoich filmów, bo obejrzałam kilka Twoich starszych filmów, które są dostępne w internecie i mam wrażenie, że każdy jest kompletnie inny. Każdy jest zupełnie inaczej zrealizowany, w innej technice, w ogóle jest o czym innym. I mam pytanie, czy Twoją metodą jest właśnie takie przeskakiwanie, czy ciągle szukasz jakiejś metody idealnej?
Basically, I just try to use the technique that I feel is most appropriate for the project. Sometimes that has to do with what I like to use. Obviously, I have some preferences myself, but also that is, I think, intuitively connected to the type of project. So, for example, this film I made called Mario is paint on glass, and there's nothing specifically about the project or the story that like it needed to be paint. Like it wasn't like about a painting or anything like that, but it was about this kind of old folk tale that no one really knows exactly how this folk song came to be. And it was also about like memory and interpretation and like large trauma on a large scale affecting people, but it's kind of a fantasy. It's not really real. It's kind of in between like a factual depiction of something that happened and like this fantasy that exists in this song. So somehow I thought paint would be good because there's a lot of morphing possibilities. So there's a lot of that felt appropriate, like this not really being fixed on any one thing. So that, for example, that's why I used paint for that one. But then another film I made called Ginebra is really very different. It's very hard paper cutouts, very stiff. There's not a lot of movement, actually. And that also seemed more appropriate because it was kind of this almost Renaissance era situation with the story that is happening. And there was already so much going on in the audio with the music and the poem that is being narrated, which you're kind of supposed to pay attention to. And there was a lot of emotion and sadness and drama, like already in the film. So I wanted it to look dramatic, but I didn't necessarily need to have like super flexible puppets and do all this movement, because it needed to be very contained, actually. So that's how I ended up using paper cutouts for that film, but it wasn't really something that I thought about in those terms at the time. It was more just like, I think that this is right for this film. So yeah, each project is different, and that's really my technique, my approach, is this attitude, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can't really do it any other way. Like right now I'm working on a project it's not even really there's not very much animation. It's much more about like a physical experience, like an installation experience with an audio track, which I think is appropriate for that topic. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be film, like, but it whatever it is, it should be somehow appropriate.
Wspominałaś o filmach właśnie poprzednich, które ja też oglądałam, i czytając o tych filmach, w ich opisach albo w napisach już w samych filmach były podane jakby źródła, na których się opierasz, bo poszczególne filmy się opierały zwykle właśnie na jakimś tekście, na pieśni, na wierszu. Czasami to były wywiady z jakby prawdziwymi postaciami, które stały się kanwą dla filmu. A tutaj w Orbit nic takiego nie ma, to znaczy, tak jak powiedziałaś nam wcześniej, to jest jakby film o naszej relacji jako ludzi ze Słońcem, ale czy to wszystko, co narysowałaś, te wszystkie rysunki nie mają oparcia w żadnym tekście, w żadnej historii? Czy to jest po prostu, to są wyłącznie twoje własne skojarzenia, czy czymś się jednak inspirowałaś?
Yes, insofar as indeed there's no like direct I don't know, short story or something that it's taken from. But it did start out with like a conversation I was having with Jason Stasic, who is actually the composer on the film. So he and I were talking about this big subject, and actually at one point there was a text narration that was going to be on top of it, and then it just wasn't necessary at all. Like it just really changed, and it wasn't that type of film anymore. But in a way, I don't really see the difference, because in a way, all my projects come from something whether it's like a really concrete song or poem that is for some reason super inspiring, that I feel like that there should be an interpreted version of it, or if it's just a topic that I've been talking about with friends and that is somehow very engaging and fascinating. And why is that? Like, why is this interesting, actually? So even if it's a personal subject, there's hopefully a way that other people can also think that it's interesting because they can relate to it. So in a way, I hope all the films are connecting with the viewer. I mean, that's I think what anyone hopes, is that there's some kind of connection on some level happening. So whether it's with the original source or whether it's independent, to me, it's almost the same. As long as there's a connection happening.
Dziękuję bardzo. Bardzo wyczerpujące wyjaśnienia na temat tego, jak pracujesz, czym dla ciebie jest film. Mam nadzieję, że nasza widownia będzie go oglądać z taką przyjemnością, jak ja podczas selekcji do festiwalu. Może chciałabyś odpowiedzieć na pytanie, którego nie zadałam, a powinnam była zadać.
I can't think of anything except it might, some people don't realize that Orbit is also, there's also an interactive installation version of it. So there's the short film, but there's also like a physical installation with record players that I only mentioned to kind of illustrate my earlier point that there might be multiple ways of coming at the same subject, and for me, film is one of them. So actually, Orbit ended up being a lot of things. I also made a series of monoprints, like with a printing press. That are just, you know, static images, but you can also animate them by scanning them and rotating them. So there's a lot of kind of fun components that this project kind of led me to. Yeah, and that's it. I also hope you enjoy it.
To znaczy, że film jest tylko początkiem, jest dużo więcej treści, o której nie miałam pojęcia oglądając sam film. Bardzo się cieszę, to jest naprawdę bardzo ciekawe. I dziękuję bardzo za rozmowę.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Enjoy the festival.
Thanks a lot.